Hello everyone, we are the ICESat-2 team investigating sea ice. My name is Tori Hagenlocker.
My name is Sneha Nair.
And I am Sebastian Mengwall.
The Ice, Cloud, and Land Elevation Satellite 2, or ICESat-2, launched in 2018 and measures the elevation of Earth's surface with a focus on the cryosphere. It repeats its ground tracks every 91 days as it orbits. ICESat's single instrument is the Advanced Topographic Laser Altimeter System, or ATLAS. ATLAS has a single laser split into 6 beams and arranged in 3 pairs. Mechanisms time the round trip of laser photons as they leave and reflect off the ground and return to determine the heights of Earth's surface. With 10,000 laser pulses per second, this technology allows ATLAS to take measurements every 28 inches along the satellite's path and detect height changes to within 4 millimeters. In this project, we're taking a closer look at sea ice. 15% of the world's oceans are covered by sea ice during part of the year, which forms and melts strictly in the ocean in both the Arctic and Antarctic. Sea ice melting influences the movement of ocean waters and solar energy reflection, leading to changes in global climate. Our research goals included comparing sea ice height over various time intervals. This included monthly, quarterly, and annually. We also wanted to observe sea ice height variability. Our personal goals included learning to visualize data in a variety of different ways, such as through visual imagery, image classification, and 2D and 3D plots. We also wanted to get acclimated to different datasets and resources.
And on to locations. We picked these locations because they had a great amount of data available for sea ice thickness on ATL-07 and ATL-10. Greenland and Antarctica both have different climates, and they also, in these specific locations, have nearly permanent sea ice, so we will have the most possible amount of data, given that we only have 3 years of data to work with. Datasets. The two products that we use from ICESat-2 are ATL-07 and ATL-10, which measure sea ice height and freeboard height. We will get into what these terms mean very shortly.
For visual imagery, we used Terra's Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer, or MODIS, bands 1 through 7, which provide an estimate of the surface spectral reflection and is corrected for atmospheric conditions.
Tools. In Python, we used multiple libraries such as NumPy and Pandas for storing and reading in data, Matplotlib for visualizing this data, H5Py for reading in data from H5 files, and CartoPy for adding maps to Matplotlib plots.
And QGIS, which is a geographic information system application that supports viewing, editing, and analysis of geospatial data, and Tableau, an interactive data visualization software. Our approach was to first use a small sample of the ICESat-2 data from Open Altimetry, around 50 files of data from ATL-07 and ATL-10, as well as a rapid prototyping tool called Tableau to first understand the data and create quick plots. We used Python programming and SQL to create two tables, one for freeboard and one for sea ice, to store the data obtained from the downloaded CSV files. So now I will do a quick demonstration on my interpretation of the results presented by the software. This tab shows the sample data from the 4 regions, and the data in each region is within the coordinates mentioned on this tab. As you can see, there's a minimum latitude and longitude and a max latitude and longitude for each region. Now for the sea ice summary and the freeboard summary, these tabs show 2 metrics. For this one, it's the average sea ice height in meters and the number of location coordinates that contributed to the average sea ice height metric. This is by region and year of data collection. For instance, in the year 2020, the average sea ice height for the year sampled is 0.14621, and the number of individual points of latitude and longitude of data that contributed to this average sea ice height is 151,004. You'll see here that in these slides, so in this one, it shows you how the average sea ice height changes over the year based on the season. And clearly you can see that the average sea ice height is higher in the Greenland area during the winter months and drops during the summer months. It is the same for Antarctica, except that Antarctica, being in the southern hemisphere, has summer and winter at the opposite time compared to Greenland. And this trend is also visible in the freeboard trend seasonality. So now for the year-over-year trend slides. So it is clear that the average sea ice height and freeboard height has dropped significantly for North Greenland in all the periods except the spring period. As you can see here, in January of 2019 versus January of 2021, there is a significant drop there in the winter months. Same thing over here. And then if you go to the freeboard trend, you'll see a similar trend.
One of the next steps we took included using Python to make plots of a single track in our region of study, in order to visualize its components and point out potential outliers in our data. The plot on the left depicts a 2D color map of a track, split into 3 pairs separated by 3.3 kilometers, with a strong and a weak beam, for a total of 6 profiling beams. The plot on the right depicts a 3D color map of the same track. When analyzing the plot, we noticed spikes in the data. We proceeded to treat these stray photons shown in dark blue as outliers in future plots, trimming and filtering them based on quality.
And here are multiple tracks in 3D. To get all this data, I went to the National Snow and Ice Data Center, the NSIDC, to download the tracks in bulk. But unfortunately, they don't crop the tracks to my query. So I would have had to download the whole track from pole to pole, and I would have been left with terabytes of data. So to tackle this problem, I created a Python script. I read in each track one by one. I extracted the necessary data from each track using H5Py. I separated the data by beam, and I deleted the large NSIDC files, and this left me with 40,000 separate CSVs that collectively took up only 80 gigabytes, which is much easier to handle than multiple terabytes. Data quality. For making our data clean, we trimmed out NaN values, and we also referenced each dataset's quality flag. They have done some data cleaning up on their own end, and it does work quite well, as we can see here. The red points, which have a bad quality flag, are the outliers, and so we stuck with this form for data quality in our future plots.
To better understand our following comparisons of sea ice height versus freeboard height, this is a diagram depicting the different components of sea ice. Often on top of the ice, there's a layer of snow. The freeboard is the thickness of sea ice protruding above the water level. Alternatively, sea ice height is a measurement of the structure below the water level up to the surface, which also includes the freeboard component.
Here is an ATL07 and ATL10 track at the same time and at the same location, overlapped. All ATL10 values are reporting positive heights in green, but ATL07 has many negative heights in blue. We brainstormed ways to handle negative heights, like shifting the values so ocean level is at 0, but we couldn't find an easy way to do this for all 20,000 ATL07 files, so we decided ultimately to use ATL10 for the bulk of our plots, just because it is the cleaner of the two datasets. Here is a changeover time graph for Greenland of its freeboard heights, an average freeboard height. I created this plot by reading in 15-day batches of ATL10 values and finding the mean and 25th and 75th percentiles. We do see an annual trend here. Sea ice thickness is slowly growing from August up until May, and then the summer months quickly drop the freeboard height. There also seems to be a general decrease in freeboard, but we only have 3 years of data to work with, so this may not be statistically significant. In Antarctica, the situation is quite different. There does not seem to be the same trend, and the ice seems to be highest around November, but the ice does not fluctuate as much as it does in Greenland. Some future work could be doing per-track analysis on different time intervals. We can see change when the satellite repeats tracks every 91 days. This graph shows the change in track 0993 in Greenland over 3 months, and we can see that the ice is growing steadily in most places at 0.1 to 0.2 meters. With additional data, per-track analysis will become a much more useful tool. And here are plots that show monthly change by plotting every value from ATL10 that we have on the maps, and we can see the ice change from late 2018 until mid-2021.
To provide some contextualization of the areas we have been plotting, These are the full true color images of the same region in northern Greenland from 2 different seasons created from MODIS data in QGIS. Since the region we chose is generally classified as permanent ice, you can see Arctic sea ice all along the northern edge of the territory even during the varying seasons. There are also clear temporal changes in the image as well, as the sea ice does not remain in static position. This graphic outlines the process we took to go from the initial data, which was in grayscale, to a true color image by isolating out certain bands and increasing brightness and contrast. With this MODIS data, we also conducted an unsupervised classification of the Arctic sea ice in this northern Greenland region. This was created in QGIS using the semi-automatic classification plugin. The final results show 4 classes from 25 iterations. We can compare the classifications of this region in the months of March versus September. As you can see, there is a greater sea ice extent in the months of March than in September, especially around our region of focus, which is near the coast of the territory. This shows a correlation between sea ice and seasonal temperatures, as March falls after the winter months and September falls after the summer months. You can also better visualize the temporal changes to the ice which has moved, grown, or melted over the seasons, indicating sea ice's large variability even among permanent ice. In our investigation comparing sea ice over various time intervals, we observed how extremely variable sea ice is. This is important to study as it demonstrates how Arctic sea ice is a good indicator of the state of global climate.
Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we would like to express our sincere gratitude to our mentor, Dr. Simurda, for guiding us in our research, as well as the STEM Enhancement Earth Science program for providing us with the rare opportunity to solve real-world problems as high schoolers. Additionally, we would like to highlight the best features of this internship, which included the opportunity to learn from accomplished scientists, engineers, and researchers, as well as the valuable exposure to professional programming and data analysis skills. We did face challenges working remotely on this project, especially when we'd have large files of data to share, and we did not have the ability to just give each other a USB. We were able to work past these minor issues by using Google Drive and OneDrive, along with the advice of our mentor.
The knowledge and hands-on experience that I gained in this program helped me develop a better awareness of the diverse opportunities and careers that exist in the STEM fields. These insights have been invaluable and helped me better understand the future real-world possibilities of my academic interest and motivated me to continue my journey in STEM.
SEAS was a new experience for me. Working with students across America brings some technical challenges, but we learned a lot on how to program and work together online. And having an expert like Dr. Simurda in our group allowed us to progress much faster and overcome issues that stumped us.
As someone who is interested in pursuing a career in data science and computer science, this internship has helped gain further insight on the type of work that these careers entail. I have been able to solidify my understanding on how the fields of computer programming, data analytics, and earth science combine to produce valuable information on how our climate is changing.